Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it's time for another Dadbod to Daddy training vlog. Today was posterior chain day, and I decided to start with deadlifts. I like doing this. You know, I messed back and forth with running RDLs for a little while, but look, the deadlift will always be my favorite exercise. It is difficult on recovery, but it is a phenomenal exercise, and anyone who says that it doesn't build large amounts of muscle has clearly not read the research. And I feel like if anything, some of my stuff regresses every time I don't do deadlifts. So I decided to come in and do it. I just did a set with 500 for 3, and it actually felt heavy because I feel like some of this stuff is detrained just a hair, partially because of the way I'm doing my glute ham raise is different, and I'll get to that in a minute. So I just did a quick drop set, and after doing 500 for 3, 405 for 6 actually felt kind of hard. I'm like, let me just stop it there, and we'll work on building deadlifts back up over the next couple weeks. But yeah, it felt good to just get that heavy bar in my hand again. And I know 500 for a triple is not what people expect from me. They expect a lot more. But again, I've been cutting. All right, I did the glute ham raises, and I wanted to compare again. I've been trying to do these really strict and do it a certain way. And quite frankly, it's not working my hamstrings the same way. I feel like my hamstrings are getting weaker. I feel like they're regressing. And when I look at the footage, I can see why. It's because when I try to do that control thing and I try to keep my torso upright, I'm trying really hard there. I don't get the full extension at the bottom, okay? It seems like it's impossible to do. So again, it's also keep in mind this glute ham raise is beat up. It's been hard to get replacement pads. These are both replacement pads that are on it, and they're already broke. I've taped them up, and they've been completely out of stock for months, so I can't even get new ones. So I'm not going to buy anything else from Titan again. I'm just not. Plus, some of their customer service I've not been happy with. I'm just going to call it like it is. All right. So it's going to be Rogue all the way in the future. So I'll probably eventually put a Rogue donkey on my reverse hyper, right? Because it's a glute ham raise that bolts right onto it. So what I did for the last couple sets, I started working on just going all the way down, right? To where I just go ahead and bend and do that. And I was able to get a lot better extension. So trying to do, again, what the strict version, again, another example of why I need to absolutely ignore anything written in the comments by anyone giving training advice who doesn't post a video of like their 700 deadlift or a bunch of their clients. These people should be ignored, okay? Completely ignored. They have no concept of what they're talking about. And I need to always remember that. Don't ever let anybody in the comments influence me, because every time I ever have, I've gotten weaker. So I don't know why I'm like, yeah, I should try doing those a little stricter. So then I just went back to my old way, right, where we just go all the way down and not even try to worry about the torso position. Just let it do whatever it's going to do. Just focus on getting down low, getting that stretch in the hamstrings, and behold, these got harder again. My hamstrings got stretched. So yeah, I did 2 sets of this, and I think if I do this for a couple of weeks again, and go ahead and deadlift every week again, deadlift should get nice and strong again. Going to keep that posterior chain growing in spite of working on losing body fat, getting leaner. But again, the volumes are not crazy high here. My upper body volumes are a little higher. Honestly, things like my delts, my triceps, all of that are getting more volume because those are the areas that need the most work. You know, I feel like more tricep, more side delt will go a long way for me as I get leaner. Definitely more tricep. I mean biceps too, but they've been coming along pretty well. So again, these got a lot harder, got that burn I wanted in my hamstrings, so much happier with that. So to finish everything else off, everything else is largely just reverse hypers and core. Like over half of this vlog, it's just going to be reverse hypers and core because I only did, 6 work sets of the other stuff. So then we get into this, and I went ahead and just did my reverse hypers. I'm keeping these light and strict these days, just going for very high reps. Mainly because I don't have to load or unload this device and mess with all that. It just gets silly trying to chase big numbers on it. Although, I could. Part of me is tempted to just load it back up and leave it loaded heavy and just do it that way. That also works for my deadlift. So it might be something I'll think about, putting all those red plates back on it. since I'm not messing with leg extensions at the moment, it could be a viable option. Something to consider, right? Something to consider, and I may do that next week, because it seems like when I've done both methods, I get good results doing the really strict, by the way. But there is something about just loading a ton of weight on it, it has a different feel to it. Feels like it carries over really well to my deadlifts. It carries over really well to my deadlifts when I just load hundreds and hundreds of pounds on that thing and work with it. Problem is then, loading it, and if I ever need those plates or need to take it off. But since I'm not doing the leg extensions now, it might be a viable option again. So it's something to think about. But either way, this still works, by the way. The really light works well, the really heavy works well. So it's been hard for me to say which is best, because I've done both extremes. You guys have seen me do it as light as this, trying to be very controlled, and you guys have also seen me swing and put, up to 600 pounds on here, right? So they all work. But I might be leaning in that direction a little bit and just load this bad boy all the way back up. With a minimum of 400 pounds on it. So I'll weigh it all out and think about it. But I did 3 sets of 20 plus reps there. Then I did 2 sets of my hanging leg raises. You guys know why we do the hanging leg raises. Do them at the end of every workout. Again, not only is it one of the best ab exercises, it works grip, helps with shoulder health, helps with shoulder mobility. So I get all that stuff thrown in on my abs at the end of a workout. And I'm going really hard on abs right now. I'm trying to do a lot of core work since I'm training beltless, since I'm cutting. I just want to, again, get that midsection as strong and as developed as I possibly can as I continue to get leaner. Plus, as you're losing body fat, it feels almost like you lose a little bit of that core stability on some of the big lifts, especially doing everything beltless. So again, just doubling down on the core work. So you did 3 sets of the reverse hypers, 2 sets of the hanging leg raises, and I threw one of my old ab exercises back in. I'm like, let's just keep some other stuff in the mix. As much as I love the hanging leg raise, it's never a bad thing to do more than one exercise for a muscle. So I also then finished up with standing band crunches, which took me, it's such a big chunk of the vlog, it took me almost 2 minutes to do a set. And I just do them until they burn, and I can't stand the burn anymore. I don't know that we can even reach failure with that. And people say, why not run a heavier band? Because when you run a heavier band, you almost can't do a rep. So it's like there's no middle ground, I find, when I try to do these for some reason. Right? It's either 50 plus reps or like 3 when you just change band tensions. So I just run it this way, and I do the really high reps. Why the towel? Because it keeps it from cutting into my shoulders. I found even when I had t-shirts on, these would almost tear the skin. So what I find is that if I put a towel over it, it cuts down all rubbing of the skin, and I can make it all about the abs. I can just lock my hands in, grip it, and just do these until they burn. Right? Just do them until they burn, which is close enough for failure for me. I've already done other ab stuff. I'm just chasing a burn and some fatigue there. These work great for that. So overall, pretty good workout. Happy with a lot of things. Happy with how it went. Just feels nice to kind of do a conventional deadlifting again. So I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys and gals next time.